Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Deep End Podcast with Pastor Steve Ryan and Kyle Headley. Today we have an amazing guest, the most beautiful and awesome Sierra Ryan.
Yeah, Sierra.
Hey guys.
So we wanted to bring Sierra in here as a younger mind that can kind of balance the scales of this topic. So today's topic is, well, I named it "Pray Before Posting: The Dangers of Social Media." Now I want to start off by saying, and Pastor Steve, you can also give your opinion. I'm not anti-social media by any means. I don't think it's the devil. I don't think it's demonic or anything like that. What do you think?
Well, I've been banned from Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at different times.
So maybe they're anti-Steve Ryan.
It could be, and maybe there's good reason for that. But I think that social media can be a powerful tool. I use it a lot for advertising services and things. I don't put a lot of private stuff on it, like pictures. I've never taken a selfie, by the way, in my entire life. That was posted.
Oh, that was posted.
Yeah, that was posted. I'm not sure I've even done one. Probably I have, but I've deleted all
You've
of it.
definitely taken ussies. I've seen.
Yes,
them.
I have. Yes, and Suzanne usually encourages it. But you know, with especially Sierra's generation at 16, she's been raised on social media, so I think a lot of it's good. I think it's like anything. You know, when TV first come around, is TV bad? Well, there's good TV and there's bad TV, but at the end of the day, it's a platform that's not going away.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think if you utilize it properly, you can spread the gospel, you can develop friendships, but it doesn't replace real life. Like to me, until you're face to face with people. But I do think it has a lot of positives. I'm on TikTok, by the way. My daughter got me on there just over 3 years ago. And on the first video she made while I was driving in the car, I told all the people, and I'm sure there was only 3 listening to me at the time, you got to blow me up. And now I have 1,700 followers and almost 49,000 likes.
Yeah.
I have no idea what any of that means, but I guess people like me.
So you told me that I was the reigning champion of views on our.
You are.
What?
You have like I think it's like 1,300, which is good for our TikTok because we never post on the church
Dang,
TikTok.
Oh yeah, one of your
1,300.
videos. That is good.
Because you had the most that you've gotten on a video was like 80,000, right?
Yeah, but that wasn't of me.
No, it was
That was a
meme.
video I yeah, it was actually when COVID was going on and we were 399 days in, and a sign in a store, and all it was a sign in a store, a still photo, and the song by the Bee Gees, "Staying Alive." 84,000
That's
views.
funny.
Yeah. Well, you have yours. Tell me about the TikTok from last
Oh
night.
yeah. So like 2 or 3 years ago, I had a friend at school, and we decided it'd be funny if I just made a random account and like never showed my face. And so I decided to make an account where I just pretty much tell people like how much a job can make you, but I'd never showed I never like no one knew who the account was. And like it's not like a lot, but like one of the videos got almost 500,000 views.
That is a lot.
That's crazy.
Like yeah, and
How many likes do
it
you
has
have on
I think
the
it has like 90,000 likes, the account does. But I like just was able to log back into it last night. I just thought it was so funny because like I never actually show my face.
I think you need to ride that wave.
That's
think
what
you
I
need
told her
keep
too.
Posting that, yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Start looking up different jobs. Start posting different things. Yeah.
So to answer his question, what's your thoughts on social media?
Well, I mean, asking a 16-year-old, I love social media. Like, I think I looked like a couple days ago, and like my longest time I've been on TikTok was like 4 hours in a day, which I think is like ridiculous. But I think it's like it's good and bad. And I know a lot of people think like social media, you know, like the cyberbullying and stuff, because I've dealt with that. Like I had like a lot of comments when I had first gotten my braces off, and people were like, "Oh my God, I could literally drive a truck through your teeth. The gap's so big." And I was like, "Whoa, chill!" Like, and it was like a lot, but
But what kind of
I was posting a
videos
lot
were
of
you
controversial stuff, like Republican, abortion, like stuff that a lot of people didn't agree with. So it didn't really matter what I said. People just didn't like me. But I think it's good. I mean, I learn a lot of stuff on social media. I think it gets a bad rap, but I think it gets a bad rap fairly.
I think to backtrack a little bit, you're very evidently and clearly losing a debate or an argument when you start attacking physical appearance
Yeah.
and not attacking what
That's good.
the topic is.
Mhm.
And so for people to jump to that, like it's hard as somebody who deals with insecurities and stuff like that. But at the same time, to strip it away and be like, okay, why are they attacking me? Oh, it's because they're losing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you stay over there as a loser and you say whatever you want to say because I'm not going to validate your opinion, you know?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I just read an article this morning where it was actually a liberal article talking about the mistake they make when they talk about Trump's appearance. Because what happens is and Trump's made the mistake of going after people's appearance. But they said when you do that, it's not just you think you're only demeaning Trump, but what you're actually doing is creating a culture that after a while you go, oh, you just make fun of someone's appearance. So it causes shame with other people because they're like, man, if they can tease the president of the United States,
Anyone's fair game.
Anyone's fair game. And I think for you, Sierra, with social media, do you feel the pressure of looking a certain way and all that?
Oh yeah, like you would never catch me dead posting a picture of myself when I first woke up. I think that's like the same for a lot of people, but like social media I think is definitely fake. Like I mean, I just saw a video of like a young girl that's my age and she was on live stream and she was like people were like, "Do you ever use Photoshop?" She's like, "Oh yeah, I spend hours photoshopping my pictures. Like I don't look like that in real life." And she fully admitted to it. Like it's just not real.
Well, and I think even more than that, because we know that like billboards, magazines, all those things are photoshopped images, right? They make corrections to people's makeup and all that. But I think even more than that, 90% of the time we only post pictures we think we look good in.
Mm.
Mhm.
Hardly ever does a picture get posted that you don't think you look good in unless it's somebody else posting it and you just happen to be in their photo.
Yeah.
And how many times does it take us to get that picture? You know what I mean? You don't just snap one selfie and then you're like, oh, I'm good, I'm posting that. Maybe some people, but the majority of people are taking 6, 7, 8 different pictures, changing the way they're holding the phone, changing the way their facial posture is, changing things until they find it. And that's the one that they post.
Mm.
And so what you're seeing when you're scrolling down your feed is you're seeing everyone's best of the best. You're seeing everyone's highlight reel.
Yeah.
You're not seeing everyone's real life struggle.
What's that, the Furtek thing? Don't look at the highlight reels. You want to know what the behind the scenes are.
Yeah, exactly that. And so I think one of the big dangers of social media is projecting other people's false happiness onto yourself and going, man, their marriage is good. They have great relationships with their kids. They're happy with their job. But all you're seeing is those the one picture out of the 900 that they took. And realizing that all marriages have things that have to be worked out. I don't care how perfect you think your marriage is. It's constantly work. You constantly should be building a relationship. All jobs are hard work. Every job is hard work. You know, doesn't matter if you love it or you don't love it. You should be working hard at your job. Like, you know, parenting is not easy. Thank God we have Jesus and we have grace and we have mercy. But you're just seeing everyone's highlights. And I think that's one of the danger things of social media is when you get into comparison of your life versus everyone's highlights.
Well, and how we make this little thing our whole life.
Yeah.
It's just a phone. But we can make this, and we were talking about it the other day, and I said, you can make this so much your real life that you don't even move it out of the way to talk to the person that's in front of you. But when you were talking, it made me think about something I heard one time. When you go to a theme park like Disneyland, you stand in line for hours to get on a ride. It's hot. The food is expensive. But at the end of the day, you're like, that was amazing. But really, if you think about it, me and her were talking about it when the last time we went to Knott's Berry Farm, we probably spent a total of 30 to 45 minutes actually on rides, maybe less. But we were there for like 10 hours.
Right.
And I go, and then you leave and you're like, oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But really, a lot of it wasn't amazing.
Right.
It's just when you get to the end of it. And that's kind of the way I look at social media, or if you're looking at someone's highlight reel, is you can go, oh, some of it's amazing, but really a lot of it's not.
Right.
Because you're just seeing the best of the best.
Well, even Sierra, you do an amazing job promoting our church on TikToks and Instagram, and the reels and stuff that you make our church look like it's so much fun. But if you come on a Sunday, it's not going to be exactly how the video looks, you know? Like,
well, you make good videos too.
Yeah, we go through the motions. Like, you know, and that's not to bash our church because we're a church. We're not a party place, but our videos look like we're constantly living it up, having the greatest time of our life, you know? But I want to go back to what you said about theme parks. Theme parks are forever ruined for me now because of phones. And they're integrating more like things that you can do with your phone while you're at the theme park, like Disneyland and Star Wars Land. Like there's like a whole story that you can follow. And I don't know if it changes or not, but you have to like scan different codes and decode languages, and you learn stuff through the app. But when I was, and you could probably relate to this more than she can. When I was a kid and we would go to theme parks and you stood in line, you got to meet people, talk with people, hang out, be silly in lines. And that was part of so much fun, you know, like you'd be standing in line with some stranger for 30 minutes and just discussing life stories and finding out that they're from Saskatchewan, Canada or whatever. Now, when you're at a theme park and you're standing in line, everyone has their portable chargers plugged into their phone and just sitting there staring at their phone, listening to their AirPods, completely disconnected from what is happening in the moment. And it's like, we just paid X amount of dollars to come here as a family and hang out and have a good day. And we're standing in line and all of us are just staring at our phones. Well, we could do that at home.
Well, I was going to ask you, Sierra, because of doing dance and everything, because I'm assuming the Dancer Studio has an Instagram page and all that. Mm-hmm. Or would you say some of the dancers you know there and yourself, are you self-conscious about stuff that's going to be posted because maybe they took a photo that you're not the one that actually approved it and stuff like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they
or are they careful with that?
Yeah, they're pretty careful with it, but there has been like pictures, and not just with them, but like with other studios that I've seen myself in, and like especially because they post a lot when you're in like ballet class, because that's kind of what they're known for. And I mean, you're in there in literally leotard and a tights, like you're showing everything,
and you're working out, you're sweating,
like
your hair looks.
You're not standing there posing, and there, you know, there's a video that's on there, a bunch of girls that are on point, and to me they look great, but I just know that there's other girls looking at that and they're like, oh my gosh, I hate the way I look in that, just because like you're not there to pose. And I know that that's a huge thing in LA now, where you know you can go to a class that's 2 hours and they'll spend the last 30 minutes just to video you. And I just think that's so dumb, because like you're not there to, you know, blow up on Instagram. You're there to learn. You're there to like improve.
But nowadays, because of social media,
that's
what's the girl's name on TikTok? It's the most popular person on TikTok.
Charli D'Amelio.
Yeah. So she's a dancer. Mm-hmm. And do you know who she is, Kyle?
No idea.
And she has maybe how many followers? 100 and something million?
Yeah. I think it's like 200 million right now. I don't even know anymore.
And she just puts out kind of goofy videos now. But I think she feels that pressure. Don't you think she feels the pressure? So do you think these dance studios feel the pressure that, hey, we got to promote the dancers and shoot videos and post it?
Yeah, and I actually have like a lot of respect for the studio, because I was in class once and one of the students in there asked the owner, because she does teach classes there, and he was like, why don't you ever post like videos of us in class? And she's like, well, because I don't want to make that the class. Like I've had parents that either don't want their kids on social media, or parents that may walk in while I'm recording and think that that's the entire class. And she goes, I'm happy to post it. It helps with, you know, engagement and stuff, but that's not my focus. My focus is to help kids learn and become better dancers so they can, you know, pursue a career or just do whatever they want with it. So I think it's cool that they do that. I know a lot of studios post a ton, but they don't.
So Kyle, I know you're on social media, but are you more, you don't remind me of someone that's on it a lot. Are you more strategic with it?
I'm terrible at using social media as a marketing platform. My biggest use for social media is free cloud storage. So I just like uploading pictures and videos of my family and stuff, knowing that that's always going to be there. That's one of the pros I have written down as basically it's online scrapbooking. You know, in the 80s and 90s, parents would print out tons of pictures and make scrapbooks and stuff. I don't have to do that because that's what I use my social media mostly for. And then I have to be on it as a youth pastor because that's where my youth is. So a lot of the times being available on Instagram or something to connect with them. And then Facebook Marketplace. Can't beat that.
Do you find that the connecting with them is effective that way? Yeah.
Well, I can always reach them. That's the biggest, that's the most effective part of social media with a youth group, is the fact that they're reachable through it. You know, like I have a student, Dane, who I sent him a couple texts just to check on him because he hasn't been down. He lives up in Idlewild. So he doesn't come down all the time, but he comes down when he can.
They drive
And
down a lot.
They drive down a lot. And so during summer when they don't have to drive down every day, they like to stay up home. So I texted him a few times and I hadn't heard back from him. No big deal, but I started to worry because that's not characteristically like him. Normally he'll text back. So I just reached out on social media. I was like, hey man, I just want to see like how you're doing or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm fine. Just
That's
haven't
cool.
been on my phone much. Okay. So social media, I could reach them easy. They're constantly available versus text messages. It seems like a less common that kids actually respond to text messages as much.
Would you say the same thing with your age group, that you're
Yeah.
more comfortable communicating with, say, a youth pastor or your teacher through social media, like Instagram stuff, or text message?
I would like I do respond on text messages, but I'm like really bad at it for whatever reason. If someone writes on like Instagram or something, I respond really fast. But text messages, I just feel like a lot of teenagers just don't respond a lot. And stuff.
154.5 million followers.
That's insane.
Yeah, just give those statistics out. Say her name.
Oh, okay. Well, going back to Charlie D'Amelio, she has 154.5 million followers and 11.6 billion likes.
It's almost hard to believe.
How many people are in the world? Like 6 billion?
No, I think we're up to close to 8 billion now.
So she has like 0.6% of the world
world's-
following her.
But it came out during like COVID
crazy, isn't it?
and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know how true it is that it's just a bunch of bots that
They're
that she
probably-
paid for. And I know
Yeah.
that you get bots and you don't pay for it. They just
But the thing for her, she doesn't care because last year she made $17 million from
One
TikTok.
bot, if one
Dang.
bot equals 3 real followers, not a big deal to you. And especially because like Russia, it's been proven that like Russia and China and different places actually create bots so that they can get an algorithm of American culture. That way they can hack into your personals and stuff like that. And I heard about that on the Joe Rogan podcast. So if you're going to come at me and say that's not factual, just actually go to him first and then come to me. So the one danger that I wanted to talk about, and this is proven, I'm gonna read this through medical professors and stuff. Social media is addicting. So when you're playing a game or accomplishing a task, you seek to do it as well as you can. Once you succeed, your brain will give you a dose of dopamine and other happiness hormones, making you happy. The same mechanism functions when you post pictures to Instagram or Facebook. Once you see notifications for likes and positive comments popping up on your screen, you subconsciously register it as a reward. So you're constantly looking for likes and comments. But that's not all. Social media will then control your mood and have the ability to access mood modifying experiences. So the lack of comments and engagement might make you feel, oh, nobody wants to talk to me, nobody likes me. And so there are some people who treat social media like a crack addict or like a heroin addict, where they got to get their fix. They got to post daily. They got to go online. They got to get their likes. They got to get their comments. They got to get their engagements. And I think when you rely that much on social media for your happiness, like if you're not happy because only 5 people liked your picture instead of 20, if that really pulls you down, then you need to analyze your situation a little bit,
Go ahead. What would you say?
I mean, I think I definitely dealt with that a lot when I was like a little bit younger and I first was able like to get TikTok. I got my phone and stuff, and I would see these like girls on there that were like 12 and 13 years old, which I think is really young to be posting those type of videos, like lip singing or whatever. But they would have, thousands of likes, and then I'd be like, well, I can do that. And so I'd post a video and it would get like 40 views, and I was like, what the heck? Like, what do they have that I don't, And so then instead of just being like, well, like it's social media, like it's not a big deal, I would start analyzing the way I looked instead of actually analyzing the way I'm thinking and going, maybe this is just like my thought process is completely off. And it was.
You know what I think is crazy, just in regards to what you said, is what was that documentary or that movie on Netflix that everyone went crazy about with the little girl dancers?
Oh, you guys watched that, huh?
Cuties. Yeah.
There were
not that.
there were so many people in my circle that were so offended about this movie. Not that I justify the movie or not. And I actually offended some people really close to me when I told them this. But they were offended by the movie Cuties, but had no problem with their their daughters doing the same exact thing on TikTok as a
Yeah.
10, 11-year-old in their booty shorts and their sports bras and stuff like that. And I was like, you're really going to take a stand against Netflix for this movie? I'm not justifying the movie, but then turn around and your kid is literally doing that on TikTok and Instagram, and you have no problem with it.
Yeah, and we ended up watching that movie, me and Suzanne, and I could see like it was kind of odd that parents would even allow their kids to act in it. It wasn't overt, but it was
enough.
Something I wouldn't allow my daughters in. But one of the things that I'd said to Sierra and Cheyenne in the past, like Ariana Grande on Instagram has 378 million followers. But when she does a concert, and let's say 100,000 people show up to the concert, it's out of the country and she's in a big stadium. When she goes back to her hotel room, she's alone.
Yeah.
Plus, out of 378 million followers or 100,000 people in a concert, how many of them actually know her?
Right.
A handful.
Yeah, the people working backstage.
Yeah, that's it. So she may have more people following her, but what does that really mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if my followers are just in this phone, I don't know them.
Right.
I think I have 1,700 followers on TikTok. Let's just say half of them. Well, I don't even know most of the people. There's some that I know, but most of them I don't know. On Facebook, I have over 1,000. I don't even know if I know some of those people.
Right.
You know, maybe I ran into them at a conference and met them one time and added them on Facebook, or they added me. But it's just not real life. And I think when you start to make it more than what it is, but it's like what you said with the dopamine, and we know dopamine can be released. It can be released when you go run.
Yeah.
And at a certain point that gets released, and it is like a high feeling. But to me, I've heard Stephen Furtick talk about it before, that your phone, when you get a notification, is like a shock collar. So you're like, oh man, my phone just notified. What is that? Like it's some big deal.
Yeah. You have to go for it any moment.
Yeah. And for me, I have to, when I get too caught up in it, I have to stop and go, why am I on Facebook? My daughter's in the next room, or my wife's in the next room. Like, why am I wasting time on this?
Yeah.
If you're not, to me, if you're using it, if you just want to have fun and go through some goofy videos or some stuff like that, or you want to make a video, that's one thing. But to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 hours on just scrolling TikTok is insane.
Yeah, there's so much other things you could be doing. So many other things.
Like your daughter playing softball.
Yeah. And Clea has zero social media.
Wow.
Because I just don't think I don't know. I feel like 12 is too early to give full access away.
And she's not missing out on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing. Fear of missing out. You know, so many kids are constantly on their social media looking through it to see what's going on, and they're not experience what's going on. Like when you were younger, you said you used to go to a lot of concerts. Now when you go to concerts, most people are watching them through their phone and
which is insane,
and videotaping it instead of like actually being in the crowd, in the music with the lights and the smoke show and all that going on, where it's like it's exciting, it's fun.
So your daughter's getting ready to play in a tournament this weekend, right?
Yeah.
For softball. How many parents go and they're looking like this, filming their kid, but not actually watching the game?
Right.
They're just filming their kid.
Right.
And it's maybe cool to do that for a moment, but I've went to a lot of her dance stuff, and every once in a while I would take a photo or video, but I was like, I actually want to watch her dance.
Yeah.
I don't want to, or watching Cheyenne play basketball. If I'm holding a phone the whole time, I'm not really watching the game.
Yeah.
I'm just I don't even know who I'm trying to impress.
Yeah. You're just trying to keep her. So I do record every single one of Clea's at-bats, and because of my...
But you probably have a reason for that as a coach.
Yeah, I'm going to get there. But because of my history as a sports reporter, I've actually trained myself to watch a game through a phone and still take it in, or a camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I was taking pictures, you have to know, specifically football, which was my main sport, I have to know how a play is developing in order to make sure I get the right shot. So if I always start with the center, and I'm looking at the center right when he snaps the ball, and then I look, okay, is the quarterback under center or is he in shotgun? If he's in shotgun, it's most likely going to be a pass. So I need to figure out which route the receivers are running, who's most likely going to get the ball, so I could get the best picture. There's a lot more that goes into sports photography than people realize, just smashing the button, So I had to train that skill of still being able to take in a game through a lens, right? And that's not a skill everyone has. I record every single one of Kalea's at bats because I want her to make corrections.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I was a step behind. I was a step below. I chopped that swing. I swung up on it. She's able to watch those things and realize what did she do when she made contact? What did she do when she didn't make contact? But when you watch those videos, and I send them to you a lot, as soon as she hits the ball, I lose it, right? Like the video's out of focus and everything because I'm watching her run.
Yeah, you're excited.
I'm like into it, you know what I mean? Just watch the hit and then everything's gone, you know?
Well, Sierra, you do that with dance. Don't they film you?
I have a folder with like probably 100 videos of me either in class or in my garage dancing, and I watch it, and I hate watching it. Like, it makes me cringe, but I have improved a lot. Like, I have a video of me up on the stage here, literally just practicing a jump that I have to do at my recital next week, and I keep watching it, and I'm like, oh, my hand was wrong. That's the reason I couldn't do it. And it'll benefit you a lot.
Because positioning, just like in baseball or anything else, how you hold a bat, how you swing, how your feet are positioned and all that, or in dance, how your hand is, or like when you're doing this jump, that you have to have things a certain way.
Yeah.
Does make. So do you think it helps you?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So think about this year as somebody who's active on social media, but also does dance. If you had to pick or choose, being somebody who got to watch all the dancing and follow all the dancers and social media, or be somebody who's in the world actually doing it, which one is more beneficial and fun for you?
Oh, definitely being the one dancing.
Being
I feel
in
like
it, right?
watching it you'd feel left out the entire time.
But think about that for a second. How many people, especially teenagers, spend hours watching athletes, watching dancers, watching people playing video games, watching people making slime, like all these things that they're watching, which is cool. Like when I work on my cars, I have to watch YouTube videos before I go out and do it so I can learn it, but they never get to do it.
Well, because they watch it and they're like, I wish I could play basketball like that. But then they sit and they keep watching it, and I'm like, get up and go learn
Go
it.
practice.
Like, go do it, because you could be that.
That's how you actually.
Yeah, you could be the next LeBron James, or but if you sit there and just imagine it, you're not going to be anything.
Right.
So
I remember Furtek saying one time his boys were both into video games. So they're like, hey, Dad, you got to come watch this video on YouTube. And it was people playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
And so Furtek at one point turns to his two boys and he goes, you're watching videos of someone else playing video games?
Mm-hmm.
Why? And they couldn't really answer the question. He just thought it was completely insane.
Oh, Kalea flamed me one time. I told her that.
Really?
Destroyed me. I said, Kalea, you're watching people play video games when you have that same game you can play yourself. And she goes, you watch people play football. Why don't you go play football? I was like, oh
dang.
Okay,
yeah, that's good. I was watching basketball last night.
Yeah.
All right. I was pinning myself.
You can't go play the WNBA. You know what I mean? But I was like, okay, you know what? You're grounded. No.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty good, though.
You know, and you kind of do have to look at this generation that way, because their Twitch streamers, those people are their Kobe Bryants. Like, they look at Ninja.
That's who they look up to.
They want to be like that.
Yeah.
No,
that makes sense.
Mr. Beast. Every kid wants to be Mr. Beast.
I love Mr. Beast.
I want to be Mr. Beast. The amount of stuff that he does to help people, sign me up. My favorite Mr. Beast video is when he buys a used car lot cash. He just goes to a guy and is like, I'll buy all these cars and I want to run the car lot for the day. And the guy's like, okay. And then he's giving away cars for $1. He's giving away cars for people doing, like, he's like, you know what? You have $2,000. That just doesn't seem right. How about 15 push-ups? And I'll give you the Scott. Like, I would love to do that.
That would be so cool.
I would love to go to VIP Autos, buy their whole lot, and just give away cars for a day. You know what I mean?
Pray for it right now.
Well, Father God, we just ask for blessings on DP City Church and our staff so that we can bless other people. We want to do amazing things. We want to buy cars. We want to buy food. We want to run restaurants so that we can feed the hungry and support the needy for your will and your glory. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Michael Todd's church, Transformation Church, they're always giving away money and cars and paying on people's loans and stuff like that. I love
Pastor Michael Todd. I've had my up and downs with him. One thing that I have a question about with him is he created the Transformation Center because he wanted businesses to launch out. So the church almost works like a bank in the sense of, if you have a business idea and you can pitch, and you have to pitch to the board, and they will fund you, like, your startup money, so that if you want to start a restaurant or t-shirt company or whatever. I don't know what people are starting out there. How close is that to what happened in the Bible with Jesus flipping the tables and stuff? Like, and that would be more, I don't know, pastoral.
What would you say about that?
You, Sierra?
So you remember when they were in and Jesus had flipped the tables.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why he did that?
Yeah, because he turned the people had turned the temple into pretty much like a flea market. I mean, they were selling things and they were completely making things overpriced and ripping people off. And
that's exactly the issue. It wasn't even so much about selling stuff. They were charging interest sometimes 3 and 4 times the amount. So they're ripping off their own people. And Jesus was saying, you've turned it into a den of thieves, to the point where you're even profiting off of people that you're close to, and you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So for me, I look at it and I go, Jesus talked about money a lot, probably more about money more than heaven or hell. So money is just a tool. So the question becomes, do you use it? My whole thing is always, do you use money to expand the kingdom? That doesn't always mean in a church setting. If you're using your money, you and Sharisa, to send your child to college or to a camp or something like that, if it's utilizing skills that they can then go out and they're expanding their world and touching the world for Jesus Christ. So I look at someone like Michael Todd and go, he's got crazy faith. Mm-hmm. So he started this business to help other people start business. I think it's a fine line where if you forget that you're a pastor and then you're trying to be a businessman, it gets really convoluted because you're getting away from what your true calling is. But to me, if you have those expertise, we know like Pastor Jurgen at Awaken Church, they own like 14 properties, I think now.
Yeah, they rent out spots and stuff.
So he's a pastor and a landlord.
Yeah.
So to me, if you do it, but if you get away from your calling too much, that's just my thinking, is then you're not going to do anything properly then because you're taking on too much. But I think if you're good at it and you can help people, it expands the kingdom. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Christians need places to go that believe in faith-based companies. And I think a lot of times when a faith-based company goes into a bank to get a loan, they automatically get like a look. Not to say if you have a faith-based company that they're not going to hire you, but if you're they're not going to fund you. But if your foundation is like, we are a nail salon, but we're a faith-based nail salon. Like when you come into our nail salon, you're going to encounter Jesus somewhere, whether it's the worship music on or, whatever it is, a lot of times I think a bank or like if you go to Shark Tank, they would be like, I'll invest, but you need to take this part out of it because it doesn't make business. So to have a safe place where you could go and give the full pitch of your dream, your vision, and your calling and not have to take things out in order to get the money, I think is an amazing idea.
I do too.
And I don't think Pastor Michael Todd benefits financially from it. I think they just do it, to make sure the church is good and his congregation is good. I don't think he's rolling around, unfairly charging interest on loans and stuff like that.
So I'll ask you this question, kind of off of that. I know we're talking about social media, but social media is influenced a lot by money. If heaven has streets to go, do we serve a broke God or someone that has unlimited resources?
Oh, definitely unlimited resources. Yeah.
But don't you notice that in most churches or most Christians' lives, they act like he's broke?
Yeah, because, you could be $30,000 in debt and you're like, there's no way God could ever make that up.
Well, it's actually what Sharisa talked about, misrepresentation of value yesterday in youth. And
that's good.
I asked the kids a question. I'll ask you actually, Sierra. If I, and come up on the mic a little bit, if I offered you $10 million right now, would you be inclined to take it? You know me, right?
Yeah.
If I had 10 million, I said, Sierra, you can have 10 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the value of that 10 million to you? Like, what could you do with it? What would you do with it?
Oh, I'd put it in savings.
The whole 10 mil?
Well, I'd probably give some of it away to my family. Then I'd go on a little shopping spree. No, I'd put it in savings.
But what would be the first thing you would do with it?
Pay off the church loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could do that too.
Which you could do.
I definitely, I have so much. No, I would. I mean, tithe.
So you would say 10 million has a good value on it, right? Now, if I
definitely.
gave you a caveat, you could still have the 10 million,
Mm-hmm.
but you will not wake up tomorrow. Which one would you choose?
So if I got to 10 million, I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow.
You're not waking up tomorrow.
I probably wouldn't take the 10 million. It's a
So
little.
the value of waking up every day in your life is worth more than $10 million.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
it's a misrepresentation of money. And you think we serve a God who doesn't have resources or value. We feel broke all the time.
Yeah.
But you just proved to me that waking up every day is at least worth $10 million, if not worth more.
And they say when the breath of God is actually breathing in and out.
Mm.
Have you ever heard that before?
No.
In Hebrew. Because it's God's name. What is it?
Yahweh.
Yahweh. So it's.
Mm.
So every time someone's breathing, they're praising God.
Mm.
Think about it. Even a non-Christian, every time they're like, so she just proved, that's a great analogy. I've never heard that before, but she just proved that breathing and being alive tomorrow is more important than $10 million.
$10 million.
So God who gave us breath, we think he's the same God that can't provide what we need. And remember, Jesus says, don't worry about tomorrow, for today is sufficient for its own troubles. If I clothe the lilies of the field and feed the birds of the air, how much more will I take care of you?
Yeah.
And we were just talking about money last night in regards to her college and everything. And I go, it's just money. And if you worry about it, it doesn't change anything.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the longer I have walked with the Lord, I've realized you just can't outgive God. Not because he's a slot machine, but because he's a good father. What would you do for your 3 kids?
I would take the $10 million.
But I'm saying,
yeah, I would, because the thing, I could set each of them up. I could set Sharisa up.
yeah, that's probably true.
But
you probably wouldn't want to wake up the next day because we would leave the money for our kids.
I would leave the money. I would pay off the church loan in my will, and I would set Sharisa Clay up, and I know my legacy would live on.
But just in a normal everyday life, even aside from the 10 million, what would you do?
Absolutely anything.
To provide for your kids?
Absolutely anything. If
Exactly.
there's a pile of poop outside and you told me there's a check in there for $1,000, I'll be the first person digging through it.
Yeah.
Absolutely anything.
And you would do that for your 3 kids above or your wife above anyone else, because the love you have for them is different.
Yeah.
Well, we can't even, we kind of know the love that we feel towards each other. Like my love for Sierra is totally different than it would be for another kid because she's my daughter. But at the same time, we think we can fathom how much God loves us. But if we really sit and think, but he sacrificed his son so we could have salvation for sins we chose to commit.
Mm-hmm.
And he was still willing to give that. So for me, I go, man, if he's willing to give the life of Jesus Christ for my salvation, he's going to take care of my bills. He's going to take care of those things. So why worry about it?
Yeah.
Because he's not worried about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he knows he's got you. So
for you as a father, husband, when things get hard financially, how do you maneuver through it? Because it's real stuff.
I start to, I guess I get a little more into my head. I start to lean on some of the things that I know God has gifted me with to see if I can come up with extra income, you know? So
That's good.
Outside of the construction, I'm a pretty decent graphic designer, and I'm pretty good at marketing. I'm horrible at marketing myself. I'm horrible at telling people why they should come listen to me preach or something like that.
Or read one of your books.
Or read a book.
Yeah.
But I can come up with marketing campaigns for companies really fast. You know, energy drinks, constructions, and re-logo and help them build websites and stuff. So when things tend to get a little hard, that's kind of where I lean into looking to see if I can help someone with their logo for their company or help them build a website or help them rebrand or marketing or advertising, because that's really my niche as a creative, is marketing. And I love writing. I could write books, movies, and all that stuff. But all of that is a tool that can be used in marketing, where, you know, writing scripts for content for social media or website and stuff like that. And so ministry is and always will be my number one focus. But I believe, like you said, Pastor Jorgen and Pastor from Mosaic,
Erwin McManus.
These pastors I've sat under, at least podcast wise, and listen to the way that they teach and say that it's always good to have multiple sources of income and gifts that you can use to expand. And so if I could one day be a pastor, even if it's an associate pastor, and own a marketing company where I can enable other people to have jobs and stuff like that, that would be the goal, right?
Yeah.
To be able to focus on ministry foremost, but also provide jobs for people in that can be a faith-based marketing,
Which is kind of your dream, Sierra. You're going to college for dance.
Yeah.
And how long you been dancing now?
I mean, consistently, probably like
16 years. You just came out tap dancing.
Yeah. I would say consistently probably 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
But like you guys put me in dance when I was like 3.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So for you, because your goal is to what someday?
own my own dance studio.
And why would you do that?
Because I want to help other kids do what other people have helped me be able to do.
So you would create an environment like the Dancer Studio has for people to be able to use their talent to dance.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the Dancer Studio doesn't do it for free.
No.
So they've created a way of getting income, but at the same time, allowing people a platform to show off their talents.
Yeah.
And
then
equipping them, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you're right. So for you, Sierra, being 16, understanding the value of money to a point, do you have fears of the future when it comes to money?
Yeah, I think I do, especially with just like stuff coming up, like with college and having to pay for more dance and stuff like that. But it has come to my mind, like, what if I get this degree for dance and then I go to open my own dance studio and it just completely fails? Like, that's just a big fear of mine because like I'm putting all of my money and all of my, not trust, but I guess you could say my trust into this degree. And like, I'm not going for anything else. So like in my mind, I'm like, I have full faith that I can do this, and then there's other part of me that's like, what if this completely fails and I have a degree in dance, but I don't have anything else?
Have you thought about majoring in dance but minoring in business just so that you can get that? Because I know when you go to start companies, California, and I don't know if your goal is to stay in California throughout your whole life or not, but California, being a woman, and also California offers more grants to women owners of companies. And then also the more educated you are as far as school, they offer more grants, more tax breaks and stuff. So if you have like your bachelor's in business, you're more inclined to get help on your taxes and like seed money from the state than you were if you just have your high school diploma and a bachelor's in dance. They'll be like, well, you want to start a business, but you don't have like, and not to say that you can't do it, because
they don't know that.
Yeah, and I believe you could, because like Sharissa and I are huge fans of Sierra Ryan, and we know you're going to achieve whatever you want to achieve. But I think it's good to double back. My major is in writing for entertainment, so writing podcasts, scripts, movies, books, video games, all that I covered, and then my minor is in marketing, which is where I covered graphic design, learning SEO, search engagement, content marketing, platform marketing, all the different things that goes in running Google ads and stuff like that is what I learned in my minor. So I have a bachelor's in writing for entertainment and marketing major and a minor. Yeah. I don't know. Something to think about.
Yeah. My original idea was actually to major in business and minor in dance. But then when I went to the counselor at MSJC, the way that when we just started talking, she goes, "You just don't remind me of someone who would enjoy majoring in business. Like, your passion is dance." So she told me, for your associates, like, focus on dance, get those down. But when you go for your bachelor's at a university, is that next, right?
Yeah.
Bachelor's. She goes, I would put business in there. She goes, minor in it, take classes, change your math classes to business math classes, or put those in, because those are going to be important. But if dance is what you enjoy doing, like, make that your major.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. That's why mine is the way it's set up. The way it's set up is major in writing, minor in marketing. Major in dance, minor in business.
Yeah.
That's good advice. I was thinking about Solomon, and I've mentioned this before. Solomon makes an offering to God of 1,000 animals. Right after that, God says to him, "Ask whatever you want and I'll give it to you." Solomon asked for wisdom. So God ended up saying, because you only asked for wisdom, I'm going to give you everything else, money, fame, all that kind of stuff. Solomon was an expert in many different things. He wrote songs, he wrote proverbs. He was very accomplished in many areas of life, to the point that even the Queen of Sheba went there with a ton of money and just wanted to listen to Solomon's wisdom. And when she got there, she realized, she goes, he runs his palace with such excellence. Everything is with excellence. So Solomon had all the gifts. He, I guess you would say, in essence, he went to college and learned business and all that kind of stuff. And you do need that. You need all those type of things, because it's always going to make you more valuable to people. But really what made Solomon powerful, and the Queen of Sheba was willing to give him all these money, because if you're doing what God's truly calling you to do, he'll always have someone there to provide the money, because he's actually the provider. He just uses different vessels to put it through. But really what gave Solomon the power was his relationship with God. And when you yield to God, and for us in the New Testament side, because now when Jesus left, he said, I'll send the Holy Spirit to be with you. So the last thing I wanted to say is that Jesus says this. He says, ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open. Whatever you ask in my name, I'll give it to you. So we go out and get our skills, college, business, whatever it is, and we can do other things. You can listen to podcasts and really hone your skills. But at the end of the day, anything you ask in his name, and you lean into the Holy Spirit, even if you go through something, and some things will fail in your life, but even if you go through it, God never allows it to be a failure that stops you. It's just a stepping stone to the next thing. I hope when you start a dance studio, it never fails. But you'll probably, even if it succeeds, you're going to have failures along the way.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing for me, is I failed at a lot of things in life. But since I've been a Christian, what I thought was taking me backwards was just a stepping stone.
Right. You learn, you gain something.
Have you had that happen?
Yeah. I actually, there's a sermon by Pastor John Gray called The Waiting Room. And it's a really good sermon.
You have to send that to me.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you. But it's about the struggle and waiting for the blessing. And he calls it the waiting room, WAITING. And I always call it the waiting room, WHEI, the wait room.
That's good. Oh, yeah.
Because, and I love his sermon, not to knock his sermon, but his sermon's more based about like having peace in waiting for God to come through for you and being content. And I think there's a part of that, but also knowing that when you're waiting for a blessing, when you're waiting for God to come through, there's some things that need to be trimmed or built. You know what I mean?
That's good.
So it's the weight room. You're trimming fat. You're building muscle. So that
like going to classes in college.
So when God blesses you with the opportunity, you got everything you need. For example, there's actually this person. I wasn't going to share this, but there's this person that runs a social media, and his daughter has 11 million views, and they have 200,000 subscribers.
Wow!
And he just hit me up to do graphics, four graphics for him.
Wow!
And at a cold call. I don't even know how he got my number. I don't know how he found me, nothing, right? And had he done that 6 months ago, I wanted to have been prepared and the ability to do that for him. I wanted to have had the skills of what he's asking for. I wanted to have had the knowledge to have the conversation. But I took a couple classes at the end of my college career that actually equipped me with the ability to do this for him.
And have the conversation.
So even though in the waiting room, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if this is the right path. I don't know if God's going to bless this with ministry and all those things. But then upon, being launched even deeper into ministry, getting an opportunity to preach more, taking our youth group to the next level, things like that. And then also having somebody come from out of nowhere to ask me to do some graphics for him was like, oh, man, okay, God, I see you. I see what you were doing this whole time.
Well, I think that's the whole point, is that when you were telling the story, it reminds me, remember when Ruth was sent into the field by Boaz. And Boaz is considered a kinsman redeemer. He's actually a picture of Jesus Christ in the Old Testament. So Boaz owns the field. Jesus owns everything. He tells Ruth to go, and he had already told all of his workers, you know the story probably, I want you to drop seed behind, and so she can pick it up. So basically he's going, I'm going to have you drop blessings for her So when she goes along with her basket, she's filling it up.
Mm.
So I think that's the whole thing, is that when you really lean into God, all of a sudden when you get contacted by this guy, you're like, oh, that's like a blessing that was dropped in a field.
Yeah, where
And
did
you
yeah.
and you recognize it and you pick it up and you're able to talk about it because you've learned in school and your classes. And then you bring value to someone that you can do something they can't do.
Right.
And I think it's the same thing. I could start a dance studio, but I can't dance. I know business. I know accounts receivables and payables and all that, but I don't know nothing about
look,
dance.
we're business partner. He's a Shark Tank.
Yo,
Would you like to invest $100,000 for
Marketing.
10%?
Oh, we could all be business partners.
I would help you out with anything you ever need.
He'll do it for free, but
Absolutely.
I want to see the money before. You know what I'm saying?
Kyle, you're hired. You're not hired.
My payment will be just be the joy on your face after your successfulness.
I
like that. Yeah.
So taking Kyle's advice, then you would, because I remember you mentioning, was it Veronica that had told you to take it, or Jen, the other classes? I thought it was.
Oh, Miss Victoria.
Miss Victoria?
Yeah.
Yeah, Victoria.
Yeah.
Sorry, Victoria.
No, I had talked to her because she went to MSJC, and I just said, I'm kind of nervous about taking these classes. I'm not really sure where it is at my level. And she was like, if it's going to help you get a degree, like, who cares?
Yeah.
If it's too easy, if it's too hard, like, just take it. Like, you're going to get the credits for it. So I'm doing that, and I'm still dancing at their studio because, like, if I wasn't able to dance there, I think it would be hard for me because I enjoy going there.
Kobe Bryant would shoot 1,000 free throws every morning. Was it his level to shoot a free throw with nobody guarding him in an empty gym with nothing going on?
Yeah.
Probably not, but he did it anyways.
So I was going to say, go ahead and promote the dance studio. Say what their website is. Do you know Victoria's last name?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Aregi. I don't even know how to say it. I think that's how you say it. But
you know what? We'll add their information to our description for this episode. We'll put their.
So it's probably the dancestudio.com.
It's the dancerstudio, probably.com, yeah.
And they're on Instagram.
They're on Instagram, Facebook, yeah.
And shout out, you probably don't know Jen's last name that manages it, kind of runs it.
Henderson.
Henderson?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jen, amazing people. They really are amazing people. So
helpful.
Everybody out there that has anyone that likes to dance, boys or girls, go to the Dancer Studio. It's amazing. Yeah. Go spend your money right now in Jesus' name.
My last words, and then Sierra, you can actually close us out. My last words are, do you practice pray before you post? Pray before you post.
No.
Yeah, me either, but I'm going to start trying to practice it.
I fast and pray before this kid.
Yeah, right.
All right,
no, man. I mean, I have before got ready to post and then felt convicted by the Holy Spirit and not posted something, but there's a lot of times I didn't listen. And so it's got me in trouble. I like drama sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah. All the time.
I like. Do I all the time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You like drama.
Keeping up with DP City.
We should
have our own reality show.
Yeah.
Are you into this? Here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Close us out, Sierra.
All right. Well, what do you want me to do? Pray?
Well, whatever you.
End us out?
You can just say bye if you want.
Just closing thoughts.
Well, thanks for joining us in our podcast. I hope I can talk to you guys again. You guys are so fun, even though I can't respond. But, yeah, thanks for joining us. Come to our next one, and we'll see you soon.
And if there's any cute boys out there around 16, 17, 18 years old, her name is Sierra Starr. I think
my Instagram, Sierra S. Ryan. Follow me and DM me.
Oh, yeah.
Peace.
Dang.
And if I don't approve, I will take off a toe. All right. We love you, DPC.
Is that why you have that baseball bat right now?
That's why I have that baseball bat. Protect her like one of our own. We love you, DP City. Thank you for joining the conversation today. As always, if you don't follow us on any podcast platform, please hit that subscribe button. Pastor Steve actually barely just followed and subscribed.
I did. Do you have to promote Truplay?
I can, yeah. So don't forget, we have our Christian-based gaming company that we've partnered up with, Truplay Games. So the link to the website will be in the description. Remember, every time you subscribe to Truplay, you help the church out a little bit. It's a Christian-based subscription company that will help your kids be safe while they fall in love with video games. So we love you guys, and thank you for jumping into the deep end.